What's going on, Sunburners? Welcome back to another awesome Sunburning video. Today is 10 years of Skylanders swapforce. Well, it literally was yesterday for me, but I didn't have all the videos I had for today. So I'm trying to get this video as soon as possible for you guys. But I am here with a bunch of some TikTokers, some Skytubers, just a bunch of people, bunch of amazing people who agreed to join this and do this collab with me. And I want to thank them so very much. They're all linked down in the description, and so make sure you go check them out. But I have 4 elements I gotta do here for you guys, and I got 4 people to join me in this. But let's get right into it, so roll the intro.
Skylands has ever known the Doom Raiders. Striking from their hideout deep in the savage Badlands, the Doom Raiders.
So I'm gonna start off with Earth. So yes, Earth is gonna start. I do not have Doomstone, but I do have Doomstone's bottom half. You'll see that again. I bought him when I was little, but I lost his top half, and it's somewhere in my house. I don't know where it's at, and I hope to find it someday. But I do have Rebel Rouser. This came from one of my friends, and he's a okay swapper. He's not the best. He is part of the dig ability with Gorilla Drilla, and of course the main feature of this is the swapping ability. Then you have 2 new cores, that being Scorp, who his ability is actually pretty fun. His powers are pretty fun, and he's a pretty cool character. I really love the way his tail is. Then we got, what's his name? It ain't Jawbreaker, it's Slobbertooth. We got Slobbertooth, who is related to Slobbertrap, I believe, in Skylanders Trap Team. So he is pretty cool, and you know who he looks like. You know. So I'll see you guys. I'm going to do about 1 collab, and I'll be back for my next element.
Skylanders swapforce is the most innovative game in the series because of the swapping mechanic, and the fact that the Skylanders can jump now! The game introduced many great characters, but my favorite ones fall under the undead element. Rattleshake is fast and has nice ranged attacks, Grim Creeper can pull off some great combos, and Night Shift is so broken I love him. Happy 10 years, swapforce.
Alright, I'm back. Did you guys miss me? So next element I'm going to talk about is Tech. And this is also the other element that I don't have Spyrise, but I have Spyrise's bottom half. I got it in a lot, and it had Stink Bomb's top half, but Spyrise's bottom half, so it was a mixed swapper, and which is sad because I don't own Spyrise, but I own Stink Bomb. But yeah, right here is Magna Charge, one of my favorite swappers out of all of them. Just love this guy. He's very fun to play as. Glad he got a variant. Don't own his variant, sadly. Yeah, Magna Charge is really awesome. And I do not own Wind Up, but I do own Countdown. Countdown is fun to play as. I do have an inbox kickoff countdown. This is over there on my desk. But yeah, Countdown is really fun to play as. He's a walking bomb. I mean, how couldn't you have fun with this guy? So yeah, Countdown and Magna Charge are the only 2 Skylanders. But I'm only going to talk about the figures that have Spyrise. He looks really cool to play as. But I'm going to get in. But I'll see you guys in my next element. Bye.
World Skylands here, reviewing the Wind Skylanders from Skylanders swapforce. Up first is Boomjet. His bottom half is really good for speed. It's perfect in Skylanders Trap Team for speed running, as there's a lot of glitches around it, while his top half is great for doing good amount of damage in large amount of areas. Up next is Freelander. He's actually my second favorite swapper, and he's the only Skylander from the Wind element in swapforce to get a variant. His top half has an electric ability that stuns enemies, and his weapons do great combos, whilst bottom half is perfect for getting rid of those enemies with shields, as he instantly disrupts them, allowing you to attack them. Up next is Popthorn, who is a dual character like Popfizz, where he has one mode that's big, and he shoots out spikes and deals damage, while he has a smaller path that blows out wind and it's really small and speedy. Popthorn came in both the single pack and the Tower of Time adventure pack, which last but not least is Scratch, who's actually the most expensive Skylander from swapforce, coming in around at $35. Her moves are overall great. Her Soul Gem lets you collect gold and gives you health, which is really nice. And she's one of the few Skylanders to not be nerfed in Imaginators, so she's actually viable. Overall, I think Wind was a pretty good element from Skylanders swapforce, as all of them are pretty much unique and have their own sets of skills. That's all from me. Bye.
I'm back once again. Next element we are talking about is magic, and I do not have Crap Shadow, but I really hope to get him someday. He looks like a really cool swapper to play as, but I do have Hoot Loop, had him since I was younger, and cool thing about Hoot Loop is I got Enchanted Hoot Loop first. He was my first Swap Force Skylander I ever got. Really cool to know. But then you have the two new cores, which is Star Strike and Dune Beetle. Dune Beetle's pretty fun to play as. He's one of my newer ones, so I don't have much experience with him. But Star Strike used to be one of my favorite Skylanders. That's no lie. She's really cool. I do like her abilities. And yeah, so, oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about Magnacharge's thing. I'll go ahead and throw it in here. We do got the speed ability and Hoot Loop's teleporting ability. So yeah, so I'll see you guys in my last helmet. Bye.
Greetings, fellow Pultimass Design Crash Rousers. Once again, time to crash the Skylands with Swap Force's 10-year anniversary. It's been 10 years since Swap Force came out. Blows my mind that 10 years ago I was working at Walmart and I had a direct shot on all the new Skylanders when they came out. And Swap Force was actually the game that got me into collecting the figures. So I pretty much was in the perfect job to do that. I literally got a box and I'd be like, ooh, first dibs. The perks of working there. That was the only good perk, actually. Actually, I met one of my best friends there, so, like, that was a perk, too. But we're going to talk about the water element today. Yes, the water element in Swap Force. I was going to Superchargers. It's actually good in Swap Force, too. Or Superchargers. Swap Force, what we're talking about today. 2 years' time, I'll talk about Superchargers, don't worry. Anyways, as I was saying, the water element in Swap Force is very surprising. It has 4 excellent versions of Skylanders with all different unique movesets, and I'm going to quickly discuss them here today. So let's talk about how awesome the 4 Skylanders are, starting off with the Swappers. So the first one that you guys 100% had the start of your journey with was Washbuckler. Washbuckler was the one that came with the starter pack, and of course, you see it in the promos, you rip them apart, you put them together. The big comment was people taking Washbuckler and switching with Blast Zone to have Wash Zone or Blast Buckler. That was a very common one. However, giving us this Skylander to start us off was a great choice because not only is Washbuckler's moveset so much fun, but it's pretty unique. You got his main Pirate Scimitar where you can slash through the enemies. His gun shoots bubbles that actually throws at certain smaller enemies into the air and uses piranhas to take them down. But of course, his tentacles on the bottom, making him dash forward super quick to take out enemies. And if you rapidly press the second button, he does a spin attack, which is so cool. And I absolutely love his moveset because this is probably one of the best Skylanders you could get right out of the gate, especially when you buy a starter kit and you see the 3 Skylanders you get. This is definitely the one of the 3 there that overshines the rest. Ninja Stealth Elf, fine. Blast Zone, I think, is okay, but no one compares to Washbuckler. Well, maybe Blast Buckler, but actually, I don't know. I think he's good as this. I think he just improves if you switch with anyone else. And speaking of improvements, Freeze Blade was introduced in Swap Force, one of the fastest Skylanders I've ever played with my whole life. I absolutely love playing as Freeze Blade. His dash move is something that you could fly through the games, quite literally. How many times I used Freeze Blade and say Roller Brawl for my speed challenges, you know, where you hit the time attack, where you have to get through the level as fast as you can. This is the one I used to use the most often. However, his attacks are excellent for range move. The Shuraka, I think is what it's called, or the Shuriken, I forget the name of it, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, I'm sorry. That's excellent for taking out enemies and then bringing back to do extra damage to enemies, comparable to what like Dino-Rang does with his boomerangs. And of course, his Ice Move can freeze enemies, and then you just take him out with the Chakra again. I think it's called Chakra. Regardless, this was one of my favorite underrated Skylanders in my opinion. I feel like out of all the water element Skylanders, this is the one that always gets overshadowed for some reason, but I absolutely adore playing as Freeze Blade, and it was a great introduction for him in Swap Force. Plus, if you have a slower Skylander, just give them the bottom, and then they're good to go. Free Blade. Check it out. And now let's talk about the cores, starting with Riptide. Probably the most forgotten Skylander in Swap Force, which bums me out because Riptide, yeah, his moveset's pretty basic, but name another Skylander that can whip out a giant whale and smash someone in the face with it. That's probably one of my favorite moves ever. I don't think I've ever played a game where I used a character and just whipped out a giant move right out of the gate. You put Riptide on the portal, the first thing you're doing is taking that giant killer whale and just whoppy-woo on somebody. Along with that, I do love the fact that he has 2 different styles of weapons. You can easily switch out his sword to do with a hammerhead, so it becomes a more blunt object, which is heavier but does more damage, but then you can switch him out to the regular sword, which is faster, but does not as much damage. Plus, you can always throw the thing at the enemies to take him out too. Riptide is very underrated. I feel like you need to give him another huge second chance, but yeah, in Swap Force, he was definitely one of the best picks in my opinion to go through the game with. And last but certainly not least is Punk Shock. Punk Shock is like the older sister to Zap. She is an electric water Skylander, like a Pokemon if you think about it. But I love the fact that she has a main water move where you can throw water globs at enemies, and then when you shoot them with your electric bolts, it does extra damage. Kind of similar to what Bumble Blast does with his, shooting the honey and then shooting the bees on them. I think her moveset is absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorites to use because it mixes range and close range so perfectly. Because it's easily to set up a water area and then have an enemy walk into it, then electrocute them super easy. Or walk up, start shooting them, throw an water ball down, pew, pew, electrocute them. One of my favorite movesets in the world is Punk Shock's. I absolutely love this Skylander. This is one of my favorites probably of all time. And it sucks that so many people overshadow her, but for me, I don't think she can be overshadowed. She's definitely one of my favorites in not only Swap Force, but in all the games. Alright, that does it for me for Swap Force. Happy birthday, Swap Force. 10 years. You are now only a couple years away from going to high school. Have fun with that. I didn't. But yes, Swap Force, happy birthday for 10 years. 10 awesome years of the game that got a lot of people into the franchise, and for me, literally started my collecting phase. So, yeah, thanks for that, I guess. But in all seriousness, congratulations, Swap Force, on 10 years, and I'm so excited to keep playing you for years to come. But as always, I bid you farewell.
Alright, I'm back one last time with the life element, that having Stink Bomb and Gorilla Drilla, two very cool swappers, with Stink Bomb being in the Stink category, and Gorilla Drilla being in the digging category. Both these guys, and to show off the ability of Swap Force, you do got the swapping ability, of course. Now we got Gorilla Bomb and Stink Drilla. And we have two cores, that being, why is his name blanking? Zulu and Bumble Blast. Bumble Blast, a very amazing Skylander. And Zulu, I do love his animal attacks and everything. Both these guys are really fun.
Happy 10th birthday to Skylanders Swap Force. I've been a little hard on Swap Force for many years because of its very long levels, but it's still a great game. And a plus about Swap Force is you can play battle mode in Swap Force with any Skylander from the first 3 games. And if we're going to talk about Swap Force, then we obviously have to talk about the gimmick. It's by far the most inspired gimmick out of all the games. I would really like to know how Vicarious Visions came up with this idea of being able to swap tops and bottoms of Skylanders. And I still really don't know how the characters are able to save data because the characters swap with magnets. For all non-computer nerds, basically strong magnets can do a lot of damage to computers or other tech. But the developers made it work, and I mean, how can you not love swapping characters? I still have my qualms with Swap Force when it comes to level length and overall level consistency, but if you play Swap Force, you're still going to have a great time. And speaking of great, the fire element in Swap Force is a great element. I think it's the best element in Swap Force. You got Blast Zone, Smolder Dash, Firecracken, and Frino. Blast Zone is one of the best swappers in the game. His bombs and fire breath are a great combo of attacks, and I always love a Skylander that has speed boost ability, and him and a lot of fire Skylanders actually have that ability. He has rocket dash boots, and it's a really good speed ability, and when he dashes, he leaves fire behind that can damage enemies. Blast Zone also just looks amazing design wise. He's so cool looking. Blast Zone is definitely one of my favorite Skylanders in this game. I will say that Blast Zone's fire counterpart, Firecracken, is probably the weak link of the fire element in this game, but I still think he's a serviceable Skylander. What I can say about Firecracken is that his moveset is very unique. Of course, what he's most known for is his Dragon Parade attack. While it is a neat attack, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it is good at knockbacking enemies when you're getting rushed. He has a sparkler staff that he can swing and make explosions with. His bottom attacks also make fireworks, which are nice and kind of complete his overall style. I think he's an okay Skylander. Smolder Dash is one of the best cores in Swap Force. Her Fire Whip attack is a great primary attack, and the Fire Orb is a nice secondary attack too. Smolder Dash, much like Blast Zone, also has a great design too. And her Soul Gem is very cleverly named Smolder Dash as well, and I think it's honestly a very good Soul Gem. Overall, she's probably the second best core in Skylanders Swap Force, only behind Bumble Blast for me. And finally, Frino, the only Swap Force character to get a Series 2 in Trap Team, so they must have liked him. Everyone knows him for his motorcycle attack, which is obviously a fun attack, but both his brawl and heated attacks also pack a punch. The more Frino rages, the more powerful he gets, and once you get his Hot Hands upgrade, he becomes a super deadly core Skylander. Overall, Vicarious Visions knocked it out of the park when it came to the fire element in this game. I mean, they all look great and have pretty great movesets, and even in Firekraken's case, while I don't think he's the best Skylander ever, I still think that he has a very inspired moveset with that dragon ability. Anyway guys, I hope you all have a great day, and happy birthday to Skylanders Swap Force. 10 years old already, man.
And now, to end off my thoughts on Skylanders Swap Force. This game is not one of my favorites. Sorry to say it. Definitely, it's on the very bottom. I just feel like they dragged on the game too much. And Rufus talking to you every time you go to Woodboro was just very boring. Because this game is a Skylander game. I do love it. I love most of the Skylanders that come from this game. But yeah, I wish this game wasn't drawn out as much as it was. And there's really lots that's been said. And I want to, once again, thanks everybody who's been a part of this. I want to thank you guys for watching. So long.